one of the challenges with implicit bias and blind spots is that they're very incredibly hard for us to see. They're incredibly hard for us to become aware of them, hence the word implicit. And so I always feel that it's critical that when we're doing this work, when we're curious about these issues of anti-racism, of working with Black and Indigenous people of color, that we do it in community, that we do it with other people that will hold us accountable. Because we have a very hard time doing that ourselves. That people in gentle ways can say, well, maybe you need to look at that a little bit more thoroughly and see whether there's something around racism in there. And that's the way that we begin to interrogate and confront our own implicit bias. Similarly with our clients, they come in and they say things like, I don't see color, right? And they learned that somewhere. They've lived with that, and they've been able to live in a world where that's okay, and you can live an entire life and don't see color. And you can begin to again pause and frame that. Well, can we spend some time with what you're saying around I don't see color? Would that be okay with you? It's again a curious invitation. Assuming that the client says yes, then where did you learn that? How did that come about? Would it be okay if I share my experience about I don't see color as a person of color myself? And then if a white person therapist is bringing in that conversation, again, it can be very, very powerful if they're working with another white client. It's like when you say I don't see color, my understanding from being in contact with Black and Indigenous people of color is that when we say that, it is a microaggression, or that holding that really discounts their lived experience. And so that psychoeducation can prompt a conversation that I believe strongly can lead to greater understanding and greater getting along. And another piece that I hold is that if we're not having these conversations about implicit bias and blind spots in therapy, very often people are not having these conversations anywhere else. And if we think of the therapy room as a safe space where people can really explore everything that's happening with them internally, social contextually, then this is we are in a unique place to have these conversations with our clients and truly make a difference. So when I hear people say I don't see color, I have to admit that a part of me kind of cringes a little bit. Because for those of us that are Black, Indigenous people of color, we see color in everything. Our experience is seen through the lens of color. How the world experiences me and how I experience the world is through race. And so when I hear someone say, I don't see color, for me, I, as a practitioner and as a human being, it's a hard place to be. However, I think it's a critical place because it is a widely held belief in society. It comes from white supremacy. We know that, and that has been well documented, that there is an insistence in the white supremacy ideology to see whiteness as the norm, and therefore that I don't see difference, right? Like everyone is the same, or I treat everyone the same way, are variations of I don't see color. So by adopting that mentality, by abiding to that mentality, then what it does is that it minimizes the unique experience that Black and Indigenous people of color have. And that experience is truly one of trauma, historical trauma, social contextual trauma, and very often is present trauma. And so when I hold I don't see color and denying, and I am reiterating that voicelessness for that particular client. I am participating in a silencing of a very important experience that needs to be heard. And that not only needs to be heard, but that it needs to be understood by the wider society.